Good morrow, Central Texas leaders. So our conference today is Leading with 2020 Vision. And what I'd like to do is to talk to you about the three different ways that you can get started on your vision, but the crucial element, how to develop enough courage to see it through to the end. And I'll share with you my own story of how I got started, and particularly how I found the courage to see it through. Just a thought. I wonder what would happen if 300 leaders all achieved their visions. Do you think this would be a better world for it? Interesting. So, oh look, there's the sunshine. So, once upon a time, I'm sorry. I should have explained this next segment is going to be in Old English. And I appreciate that gives us something of a problem because, of course, the humor doesn't transfer very well. So I don't want any of you to worry, because when I say something funny, I will make sure that everyone understands. Thank you for that one laughter. Okay. Oh, well, never mind. Okay. So, I was born in a small seaside town, the south of England, called Bournemouth. It's kind of England's answer to Florida. And as I was growing up, I was very small for my age, very small for my age. And I'll explain the chicken in a moment. I had national health spectacles, round and pink. So, of course, I was bullied. And I was bullied until the time I turned 13, and I came across a magazine article that had pictures of Hell's Angels biting heads off of chickens. Yeah, I know. So this somehow just gave me the impetus I was looking for to change everything about my life. So I went looking for Pritchard in the schoolyard, and Pritchard was not difficult to find. He was a giant, at least to me. And so I found him, I poked him, I prodded him, and I insulted him, and told him to meet me in classroom 3C at 4 o'clock after school, where I would punch his lights out. Yeah, did I really just say that? So then the fear came in, as it does. I was terribly afraid, but I was more afraid of being called a coward. So I showed up. And when I got there, the classroom was absolutely full of eager spectators looking for a show. And I'm afraid to tell you, I didn't give them too much of a show. I think I landed one punch before he punched my lights out. And lucky for me, a teacher intervened, so all was well. So the next day, as I was walking back through the school gates, I realized that I really hadn't thought this through terribly well, because, you guessed it, so Pritchard's waiting at the gate. He starts to walk towards me, and I froze on the spot. He raised his arm, and I cowered. Then he put his arm around my shoulder and he said, "That was the most courageous thing I've ever seen." He walked me all the way into school and changed my life that day. I've never felt bullied since. I don't have his contact details if you need them, I'm sorry. So the interesting thing about that part of the story for me was just how difficult it was, even after I'd made a decision to see things through. And it was something I was more scared of than that, so that worked in my favor. So I decided, when I was looking for my own 2020 vision, which is really all about not just having clarity about where you're going, but when you pause and look behind you, your people are actually following you. That would be the test, right? So with this in mind, I went looking for ways to get my career going. Now there's really only three ways. The first one is this frustration of being beaten up on a regular basis. It's a pretty good incentive to get going and start on your career, your vision. The second one, though, is crisis. And I didn't have a crisis to lean on. And crisis is where perhaps you might have some health problem. That will have you make massive change in your life and embark on a new vision, for sure. Or perhaps a company that's in trouble, and it's a turnaround situation. and some of us had been there. There's really no choice but to pony up and get the job done and work towards a new vision. But it was actually the third mechanism that I used for my own Vision 2020, and that was inspiration. I was inspired to put together a vision and go make a very big difference in the world. So I started working on Corporate Caterpillars. Corporate Caterpillars, How to Grow Wings, was a book really trying to pull the lessons out from 25 years of doing large-scale corporate transformation across Europe and the US, and put it down into a form that said, well, this is how you can transform your business. It starts with the individual leader, of course, and this is how you can follow the program. So that's what it was all about. And when I sat down to write down everything I thought I'd learned, the first 4 chapters actually fell out fairly easily, I have to say. You've heard this expression before. It was like I wasn't really writing it. Well, as this drawing shows, I reached chapter 4 and I stopped. And I stopped because it was the chapter on life purpose, individual life purpose and corporate life purpose. And I was stuck. I thought I knew my vision. I thought I was very clear about where I was going. So I was rather alarmed. And it took me 10 months of soul searching to realize something. Pretty straightforward. I knew exactly what my vision was. I had crystal clarity about that. But I was afraid. What if I should fail? What if I don't have the resources? What if this is not what I'm supposed to be doing? As you like the saber-toothed tiger. So what fear does for you is, fear is just a perfectly natural emotional response, and one that's essential to our survival. You've all heard about the fight or flight response. Once you have the fight or flight response come up, what courage is about dampening that down. So what the scientists have figured out is that there's a part of your brain which can be taught that will actually dampen down this effect, so you're slightly less cautious. So if you've learned, for example, to be over-cautious about the risks to your Vision 2020, and you're not doing some things you should really be doing, it is possible to learn how to dampen that effect and have more courage. True. I have to cheat because it's called, let me see if I can remember it, the subgenual anterior cingulate cortex. Yes. So it's a part of the brain back in here that actually dampens down this flight or fight response and gives you just enough incentive to take action. You still feel fear. You can't get rid of the fear, that's still there, and you feel it very much. But what it does do is it dampens it down enough for you to be able to take action. Okay. So then how can we do this, Ron? How can we learn how to have more courage? And so even though we're afraid and we're worried about risks and concern, we can still take action and achieve our 2020 visions. Well, I'm going to explain it this way. You cannot give away that which you do not have. So if you could find a way to impart courage in someone else, then you will develop more courage yourself. Really, yeah, it's really that simple. If you can actually encourage somebody else, instead of the usual way, right? Everyone encourages us. No, if you can encourage someone else and have them basically just feel better about achieving their vision, you will have more courage yourself. Okay, so that's what I did. I was busy building up West Executive, and I was coaching executives across the country. And what I found was a very common theme. They were looking for me to encourage them to pursue their visions. And the more I worked to infuse courage in them, the more courage I found for myself. So I turned 60 on the 1st of April, no fooling. And I moved to Austin on the 1st of October. And I got to tell you, in that 6 months, I never needed Pritchard's arm around my shoulder as much as that. But I learned something else too. It was really because I was busy inspiring courage in others to pursue all of their dreams that I found the courage to stick it out and achieve my 2020 vision. And This is a big part of that. So thank you to Pritchard. Thank you to everyone that I've coached that's helped me. And thanks to you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.